What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. So today we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5 leaks. The leaks we've covered on this channel up until now from making Star Wars have been pretty accurate, to be fair. A few bits in the wrong order and some bits we haven't yet seen that have been leaked for previous episodes, but for the most part the actual guideline of each episode has been accurate. So we're going to continue, and if leaks are anything to go by for episode 5, we could be in for a treat. I do realise and I do appreciate, episode 4 isn't for everyone. A lot of people have had problems with it, as you see on social media. However, I think this one's going to be a banger. So before we jump in, remember to subscribe, leave a like on the video. It's massively helpful for the channel. So where we left off in episode 4, we had our heroes escaping Nur, and this is where we're going to pick up for episode 5. They're going to be going to Jabiim. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to land on Jabiim in this episode or are already going to be there. Now, once they're on Jabiim, we realise that the Partisans, which if you didn't know are Sol Guerrera's group of rebels effectively, have a secret base. And it's actually a Clone Wars era installation inside a sinkhole. Furthermore, there are a group of Force sensitives there which are under the protection of the Partisans. I'm not clear if these are going to be Force sensitive children or maybe teenagers or even maybe some adults as well, which would be pretty cool to see. I mean, if we're going to see any Jedi cameos that we know already, maybe Quinlan Vos, Kel Kestis, then this, I would think, would be the ideal time to do it. It goes on to say that this group of Force sensitives could be the future of the Jedi. So what happens is this group of Force sensitives heal Kenobi with the Force, and if you didn't know already, Jabiim does kind of have a history of Force users with the ability to heal. So anyway, it says here that Kenobi awakens because these leaks have been slightly jumbled a little bit. This is judging by after his duel with Vader, so I don't know if he's actually going to be asleep when this happens or if he might be awake anyway. But the Force sensitives actually heal Kenobi, and Kenobi awakens and is pleasantly surprised to be surrounded by young Force sensitives. Probably reminds him a lot of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant in that respect. Kenobi sees, while he's on Jabiim at this location, some Partisans with clone trooper armor and weapons, and he realizes that this is a base he's been to before during the Clone Wars with Anakin. So the leaks do say at this point that Kenobi has more fight within him than ever after seeing Leia and the Partisans all defy the Empire. This is the point where he realizes that Order 66 wasn't necessarily the end of the Jedi. I do think that Kenobi, as the season has progressed, has slowly been coming back to his former self, which can be seen as far back as episode 1, where he actually agreed to help Leia. He takes his lightsaber with him. He's also got the blaster, but he's also got the lightsaber, which is important. He actually confronts Vader. Yes, he did try running away, and I did think it was a bit funny when that happened. But to be honest, Obi-Wan at this time was just a normal man, effectively. His Force abilities were greatly diminished and nothing compared to Vader's. I mean, I think any normal person, if you came up against Vader, you would run. But the reason that he actually confronted Vader was very selfless. He done it to prevent the townspeople from further harm, but to also buy time for Tala and Leia to escape. And I think in episode 4 it really seemed to cement Kenobi's return to power. He was using his lightsaber way more, sometimes as his first choice of weapon over the blaster for the first time this season. And I really liked the scenes where he was deflecting the blaster fire. It was sort of like an extreme real-world version of a Jedi when they would use the training remote. We saw him trying to use the Force to move an object. He wouldn't have done that in any of the first couple of episodes, I don't think. He only used it when he had to save Leia. And then he actually used it, and I think this is the best display of Force ability we've seen from him since Revenge of the Sith, to stop the water from coming through the cracked glass. Anyway, back to Kenobi. Now, at this point in time, the Empire have learned their location on Jabiim, and they've tracked them. The reason they've tracked them is because Reva fitted Lola with a tracking device or some sort of tracking setting, which we can see at the end of episode 4 when Lola lights up. It's a very sinister kind of moment. So our heroes are actually going to have to fight their way off-world to get Leia back to Alderaan. Now, it's during this episode that the good stuff really happens, and something we've all been waiting for a long time. So Kenobi begins to meditate to try and figure out how he can defeat Darth Vader. And he flashes back to the Jedi Temple when Anakin is about 19, 20 years old. So this is very much Attack of the Clones era Anakin. So there we go, guys. We're finally getting that Anakin flashback. And he goes on to say, in this meditative vision of the past, Kenobi and Anakin spar with their lightsabers as friends, as they were back then. And Anakin is a bit of a smart-ass, pointing out all of Kenobi's flaws while dueling. And Kenobi replies with instructional quips, which the arrogant Anakin playfully ignores. And it says that this memory, in particular, is key to defeating Darth Vader. And he goes on to say, I think they're sort of joking, is it the high ground? They think it's probably the high ground. One thing I think is worth pointing out is, yeah, fair enough, Kenobi might think he has the upper hand on Anakin or Vader by figuring out his flaws from previous training that they've done together. However, Anakin and Vader are two very different fighters. So Obi-Wan may turn up with a plan, but I don't necessarily think that plan will work. It's a completely different ballgame at this point. So before the Empire arrives, Leia has to get off-world and back to Alderaan. So Kenobi and Leia have a kind of a goodbye exchange, and Roken takes her back to her family. I mean, I know this is going to raise a lot of questions. I mean, are they going to do some sort of forced memory wipe here? I mean, because Leia does know who Obi-Wan is and Ben Kenobi. She knows him by both names now. But I guess, I mean, at this point, there's not really any point doing a memory wipe, as it might actually cause her more danger, not knowing what's gone on, because the Empire knows now that her and her father have been helping the Jedi effectively. So the Empire begins to attack the base on Jabiim with the Inquisitors, Stormtroopers, and Purge Troopers. And it goes on to say, according to one source, so I don't know completely if this is actually going to be in it, but you remember Haja Esteri, the con man fake Jedi we saw in episode 2? Well, he's back, and he's not as he seems. And he can be seen in this moment readying the Force users, Force sensitives, with lightsabers and kyber crystals, which is really interesting. I thought that character was great for that brief moment we had him, and I really think that it would be good to have more of a story for this character rather than just a con man. Which leads me to believe that Haja Esteri could be a Force sensitive potentially, just with really weak abilities as he's never had the training. And maybe that kid that he did kind of con or rip off for money was actually Force sensitive like he said he was, and it's not just something to make a quick buck. So this is where the big battle begins between the partisans, the Force sensitives, and the Empire. Before Kenobi and co make it out, Reva reveals to her Obi-Wan, and this is something that I'm not too sure will actually appear, that she reveals to Obi-Wan that she's figured out Leia's heritage. Maybe from trying to probe her mind, maybe she picked up little bits of information, but not the full picture because of Leia's ability in the Force. Effectively, she knows the Anakin Skywalker secret of having kids, and that puts Luke in immediate danger. So I'm not too sure about Reva finding out about Leia's heritage. I mean, it was actually rumored to be mentioned in episode 4, which it wasn't, but I mean, maybe it could be pushed into the beginning of episode 5, or maybe this could be the first reveal for it at this point during the battle. We'll have to see, but basically, they're the leaks, guys. I mean, it does sound quite promising, does sound like a lot of action, and I don't know how much Vader we're going to get in this episode, but I do really hope it's a lot. So these leaks are from Making Star Wars, who are really accurate with their Star Wars leaks, not just for the Kenobi series, but the films and Boba Fett and The Mandalorian as well. So check them out if you haven't already. They're on their website. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Remember to leave a like, subscribe if you want to carry on this Kenobi journey with me and the wider Star Wars journey in general. And until next time, may the Force be with you.